Hi, I'm Ethan, an aspiring software engineer with dreams as vast as the lines of code I plan to write. As I flipped through the college brochures scattered across my desk, a surge of excitement coursed through me. I'd been coding since I was 12, and I was determined to get into one of the top tech schools in the country. Nothing could stop me. My parents had always promised to support my dreams. That college fund, carefully saved since my first birthday, was supposed to be my golden ticket. Mom, Dad, I've narrowed it down to my top 3 schools, I said one evening at dinner, my voice a mix of nerves and anticipation. I'll need to start applying for scholarships soon, but it's a relief to know the college fund has the rest covered, right? A heavy silence settled over the table. My mom glanced at my dad, her eyes begging him to speak. That's when I knew something was wrong. Ethan, we need to talk about that, Dad said, his voice shaky, uncharacteristically uncertain. Jake's been in some legal trouble. We had to use the money to bail him out. It was the only way to keep him out of jail. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. You used my college fund? All of it. My voice cracked as the plans I had meticulously laid out started to unravel. It wasn't an easy decision, Ethan, Mom said softly, trying to smooth over the edges of their betrayal. We thought we'd be able to replenish it before you needed it. How could you do that without asking me? I shot back, frustration boiling over. That money was for my future. We're your parents, Dad said, trying to justify their actions. We thought it was the best thing for the family. We'll fix this, we'll help you figure out the college expenses. You've always said we were a team, I said, my voice shaking with emotion. But it feels like you're always Team Jake. What about my dreams? Mom's voice was barely a whisper now. We're so sorry, Ethan. We'll make it right. I stormed off to my room, their empty promises echoing in my mind. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, my heart heavy. I knew if I wanted to make my dreams come true, I'd have to do it on my own. This betrayal wouldn't define me, it would fuel me. From that moment on, I vowed to succeed, no matter what. The next day, I made a decision. I would leave home and start fresh. I picked up multiple part-time jobs to save for school, and months later, I was finally able to begin my studies while still working. It was past midnight, and while most of my classmates were asleep, I was just getting started on a coding project due the next morning. Ethan, you coming to the study group? We're reviewing for midterms, my roommate Mike asked, sticking his head around the corner. I can't, I replied, not taking my eyes off the screen. I've got a shift at the cafe early in the morning, then my internship and classes. I'll catch up on studying later. Man, you're always working, Mike said, his concern genuine. Don't you ever take a break? I forced a half smile. Breaks are a luxury I can't afford. The next morning, after pulling another all-nighter, I found myself behind the counter at the cafe, brewing coffee for sleepy customers. The smell of roasted beans was a sharp contrast to the sterile coding environment of my classes. This was my reality now, juggling work and school without any financial safety net. Ethan, double espresso on the double. Mrs. Parker, my boss, called out, snapping me back to attention. Yes, ma'am, I responded, my hands already working on the order. This job was far from software engineering, but every dollar brought me closer to my degree. Later that day, during a rare break, I called home. I needed to feel some connection, maybe even a glimpse of hope. Hey, Mom, how's everything? How's Jake? I asked, trying to keep the conversation light. Oh, Ethan, we're just dealing with another one of Jake's issues. Your father and I had to cover his rent this month. You know how it is, she sighed. I clenched my jaw, the familiar frustration building. Yeah, I know how it is, I said, my words laced with unspoken resentment. We miss you, Ethan. We just want you to come home sometimes. I miss you too, Mom, I replied, my voice softening, though my resolve only strengthened. But you know I have to do this on my own. It's important to me. The call ended with promises to visit, but we both knew my schedule wouldn't allow it. As I hung up, I felt the weight of my choices. Choosing this path meant long nights, endless work, and sacrificing the comfort of family support. Yet, with each job, each class, and each project, I was building something more valuable than any college fund could have given me: my independence and self-resilience. That night, as I returned to my dorm to tackle another project deadline, I realized I wasn't just working toward a degree. I was proving to myself, and maybe to my family, that I could make it on my own terms. This journey was mine, forged from betrayal, but driving me toward a future I was determined to shape. 5 years after graduation, I sat in my well-appointed office at a leading tech company. My nameplate, Ethan, senior developer, gleamed on the desk. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the room as I reviewed lines of code on my dual monitors. The sharp ping of my phone broke my concentration, and I glanced at the screen. Dad's name flashed. "Hey, Dad, what's up? Everything okay?" I asked, a mix of anticipation and caution in my voice. "Ethan, your mother and I need to talk to you about something important. Can you come by this weekend?" Dad's voice was tense, and a familiar unease settled in my gut. "Sure, I'll swing by." "Is it about Jake?" I asked, bracing myself for the inevitable. The weekend visit felt like stepping back in time. Sitting at the same kitchen table where I'd once done my homework, the same place where they told me the college fund was gone. I could sense the tension. Mom and Dad exchanged nervous glances. "Ethan, we're in a bit of a bind. Jake's gotten into trouble again, and we've maxed out helping him. We need a loan. $50,000 should cover it," Dad finally said, his voice thick with embarrassment and desperation. The room seemed to spin as old wounds reopened. "You're asking me for money, after what happened with my college fund?" "Son, we wouldn't ask if it wasn't serious," Dad said, his tone pleading. "He's your brother," Mom added, her voice cracking with emotion. "Jake has been a black hole for your support, and you've let him. Now you want me to fund it." My voice rose, the betrayal just as sharp as it had been years ago. "We're family," Dad reasoned. "Sometimes families need to help each other out in tough times. Helping is one thing, enabling is another," I countered, my resolve solidifying. "I worked hard to get here because you chose to bail Jake out instead of supporting my education. I learned to be self-reliant. It's time Jake did the same." "Ethan, please," Mom begged, tears brimming in her eyes. "Don't turn your back on us now." Turning my back felt like the hardest thing I'd ever do. "This isn't just about money. It's about a pattern that you've allowed to continue. I'm sorry, but I can't help you. Not this way." The drive home was long and silent, my mind churning with emotions. I had stood my ground, but at what cost? The rift between us felt wider than ever. Still, deep down, I knew breaking these toxic patterns was the only way to truly help Jake and myself. That evening, I sat in quiet contemplation, the weight of my decision pressing heavily on me. Yet, amidst the turmoil, there was a newfound strength in standing up for what I believed was right, even if it meant standing alone. Months later, the buzz in the tech community was electric as I walked onto the stage at a major industry conference. I was about to announce something deeply personal and important: the launch of the Ethan Scholarship Fund. My heart pounded with a mix of pride and nervous anticipation. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, "I'm here today not just as a software engineer, but as someone who believes in the transformative power of education. The Ethan Scholarship Fund will provide financial assistance to students who, like myself, have faced significant barriers in pursuing their dreams." The crowd erupted into applause. After the announcement at the networking event, I was approached by industry professionals and journalists eager to learn more. "Ethan, what inspired you to start this scholarship?" a reporter asked, her recorder poised. I smiled, reflecting on the journey that had brought me here. "I know firsthand how tough it can be to fund your own education," I replied. "No one should have to choose between their dreams and financial reality." As I explained the memories of my own struggles, sincerity laced every word. The article hit the newspapers the next day, and the reactions were swift. My phone buzzed with notifications, messages from strangers praising my initiative, and from colleagues eager to contribute. At a family gathering a few weeks later, the topic inevitably surfaced. My parents were there, and the tension from our last encounter hung in the air. "Ethan, we read about your scholarship fund. It's a generous thing you're doing," Mom said cautiously, a hint of reservation in her voice. Dad added, "It's a lot of money to give away, Ethan. Are you sure it's the best use of your resources?" "Helping others succeed is absolutely the best use of my resources," I replied, firm but hopeful. "This isn't just about money. It's about giving opportunities to those who are where I once was." Aunt Lucy, always supportive, smiled warmly at me. "I think it's wonderful, Ethan. You're turning your past struggles into hope for others." The room was divided. Some relatives nodded in agreement, while others sided with my parents, whispering about the practicality of such generosity. Yet, as the conversation shifted into dinner talk, I felt a quiet satisfaction. Starting the scholarship was more than just a financial commitment, it was a personal testament. It symbolized a way to transform my past, marked by financial betrayal, into a future where I could help others. I was rewriting my narrative, turning pain into purpose. Months after launching the Ethan Scholarship Fund, I found myself back at my parents' house for a routine Sunday dinner. The atmosphere was lighter than it had been in years. Jake was there, looking more composed than I had seen him in a long time. As we gathered around the table, Dad cleared his throat, signaling he had something important to say. "Ethan," he began, "your mother and I have been talking a lot lately. We've seen what you've done with your scholarship fund, and we're proud of you. We realize now how wrong we were to use your college fund the way we did." Mom nodded, her eyes filled with sincerity. "Yes, Ethan. We're truly sorry for the pain we caused. Seeing you help others has made us reflect on the mistakes we made with you and Jake." To my surprise, Jake spoke next, his tone unusually serious. "I owe you an apology too, Ethan. I've started taking responsibility for my actions. I'm in a program now, working on fixing my own messes. I'm also volunteering, trying to give back in my own way." His words took me off guard, but they resonated deeply. I took a moment before responding, letting their admissions sink in. "Thank you, all of you. It means a lot to hear you say that. What I've built with the scholarship fund wasn't just for me. It's for anyone who struggled like I did." Dinner carried on with a newfound warmth. My family was genuinely curious about the students the scholarship would help, asking questions and even offering suggestions. Later that evening, I found myself standing in my old room, now a guest room, looking out at the quiet street. The journey hadn't been easy, but it was mine. I had forged a path that not only led to my own success, but was paving the way for others. As I reflected on everything, I realized the importance of self-reliance and the satisfaction that comes from breaking toxic patterns. I had turned the betrayal of my past into the foundation of my future. This wasn't just about reconciliation, it was about growth. It was a testament to the strength of character and the enduring hope that we can change, not just for ourselves, but for each other. This story is a tale of resilience. It shows that even the deepest wounds can heal, and from them, we can emerge stronger and more determined to shape a better future. Thank you for following along. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Have you faced similar challenges? How did you overcome them? Let's discuss in the comments. Though this is the end of Ethan's story, the conversation doesn't have to stop here. How would you have handled the situation if your family had used your college fund? Would you have offered the loan to help out later, or stood your ground like Ethan? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get a discussion going. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Your support helps us keep sharing and growing together.